5 books that can make you rich. Very cheesy title. Now let me start with a caveat that this books by reading is not going to make anyone rich. There is no silver bullet to creating wealth or becoming rich. But these books will give us, it is a guidepost in terms of understanding and creating that attitude towards creating wealth or towards money management, looking at money and wealth. It creates a different lens altogether if you have not read these books. Now let me start with the first one, which is The Millionaire Next Door. It is a book that is that you can listen to in Audible when you're working out, etc. So this book was written by Thomas Stanley. There are, I think, multiple versions. William Danko. These are two authors. It is a good listen to in Audible. I listen to that in Audible. It creates a great mindset in terms of looking at how to be rich and how to be wealthy. There is a difference between the two. Most of the people who are wealthy in that book, whom the authors have studied many millionaires, thousands of millionaires probably, and they have arrived at common conclusions and common denominator these millionaires carry, which is quite true. If you read that book, you will understand, or if you listen to the Audible, you will understand. That's the first book I wanted to recommend. The second book is Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. Dates back to last century when this book was written. Very famous book. You might have read this. If not, it's a good idea to read or reread. The third book is The Millennium Fast Lane. Now this is this has been an eye-opener for me in terms of, it was written by M.J. DeMarco. It's a great book for those who are trying to become entrepreneurs. There are only few ways to become rich, right? It's either through your entrepreneurial journey, or you have to start investing, owning assets in equity, owning equity or assets, and then there is there are ways of getting into high-paid jobs, which are like about 200k, 300k, through owning publishing businesses, or through books, through getting a patent, etc. There are very few ways to make it big, right? So this book explains, The Millionaire Fast Lane explains really what is a entrepreneurial way of getting rich, right? Then comes Psychology of Money. This book has been a blockbuster. You would have definitely read this, by Morgan Housel. If not, please pick it up. It's a great book. Morgan has been a great writer, prolific writer through his blogs, and this book is a comprehensive view of all his writings. It's actually a different way of looking at wealth and money and all of that. So Morgan has explained it so well. Blockbuster book for obvious reasons. Great read if you have not read it already. And then the next book I wanted to bring out is Joys of Compounding. This book is written by Gautam Bade. Pretty heavy volume. If you have to read this, it takes a lot of time to read, let me tell you that. But it's important to understand compounding. It's not so one book, Psychology of Money, deals about the basics of money management, how to look at richness, wealth, and all of that, how to look at time versus wealth and all that. Think and Grow Rich is the attitude with which you look at creating wealth. Millionaire Fast Lane is the entrepreneurial lens to creating wealth. Millionaire Next Door is the approach in terms of frugality and investing wisely and all of that, how millionaires typically are. And Joys of Compounding is the final, completes that whole cycle, because compounding is a way to the richness when it comes to owning assets and equity. So that he has explained pretty well, and he has given a lot of examples about Charlie Munger and legendary investors like Warren Buffett, and so it's another great read. Now these are the 5 books. In addition, I want to leave you with one other book recommendation, which is out here, and it's How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. This is a very different book. It's a very blatantly written, very bold book, I would say. Many of you might not like many of the things written in that book. That's why I didn't want to recommend the top 5, but that's another great one read if you really want to look at world's one of the greatest entrepreneur. He was Felix Dennis, who I think was close to be a billionaire. He was a founder of the Maxim magazine, if you know. He had a publishing house. He is from UK. So these are the great books I could think of which could really help you become rich. If you read that, it creates a great mindset, it creates a great attitude, the willingness, the willpower, and the entrepreneurial mindset and the ownership mindset. So that's the approach with which I have recommended these books. Trust this was helpful. Signing off, Sandeep Anand.